Hello everyone, good to meet you all again through this video content. I am Lenin, Assistant Professor of English, St.Joseph College, Cuddalore. Through this video content, we are going to learn the neoclassical age in the history of English literature. As far as the period is concerned, the neoclassical period is concerned, it pertains to 1660 to 1745, 1660 to 1700 Restoration Age, 1700 to 1745 Augustan Age. This age is also called as the Age of Sensibility, from 1745 to 1789, which is the reaction against neoclassicism, also proto-romanticism. As we are all aware of, the Romantic period hails from 1789 to 1832. Neoclassical and neoclassicism, these two terms, neoclassical and neoclassicism, are used to describe a work which displays a revival of interest and veneration for the classical attitudes and style of ancient Greek and Rome, influenced by imitate models and seeking to emulate their pursuit of order, clarity, harmony, grace, humanity, discipline, and rational beauty. Main features of neoclassicism. It is a tendency of conservation towards contemporary culture, which necessarily focused on the classical past, that is, the ancient and the moderns, valuing and admiring the proprieties, regularity and simplicity of form, order and proportion, elegance and polished wit are the traits which are witnessed through this age, encouraging emotional restraint and rating most highly art which displayed technical mastery. Use of stylized stock epithets, classical references, artificial tropes in order to heighten the language of poetry. The critical tenets of neoclassicism were the worldview of enlightenment. What can be called as an enlightenment? Enlightenment is a term used to describe an intellectual movement in Europe between 1660 to 1770. The movement was critical of traditional beliefs, superstitions, prejudices, and is placed central in human reason and strict scientific methods. Enlightenment thinking, human progress, rational perfect beauty of humankind, the universe is governed by observable laws and systematic principles. There are some major English Enlightenment thinkers. They are John Locke and Sir Isaac Newton. What's the connection between Enlightenment and neoclassicism? Enlightenment aspects cast of mind are to be found in neoclassical literature. The rejection of irrational and distrust feelings became common in the age of sensibility. Nature and nature laws hid in night. Alexander Pope's couplet captures a sense of wonder and respect Newton inspiring the poets of the period. For a time, literary historians call neoclassicism as pre-romanticism, but not the friar objected this categorization. Modern scholarship regards Romanticism as an episode within the larger and longer movement of sensibility. What can be called as sensibility? In the 18th century, the term sensibility did not mean sensibleness, it means sensitivity or emotional responsiveness, susceptibility to tender feelings. Sensibility, sympathy, sentiment were often interchangeable. The quality of empathy rose as a reaction against a view expressed by the philosopher Thomas Hobbes in Leviathan, that man is innately selfish and motivated by self-interest, the drive for power and status. Who are the philosophers of sensibility? The third Earl of Shaftesbury is generally appreciated as the philosopher of Age of Sensibility. Reacting against the views of Hobbes, Shaftesbury proclaimed in his Characteristics of Men, Manners and Opinions and Times, benevolence, wishing other persons well, is an innate human sentiment and motive. That the central elements in morality are the feelings of sympathy and sensibility. David Hume in Treatise of Human Nature and Adam Smith in Theory of Moral Sentiments also argued that the heart, which prompts us without reflection, is better source of good character and right action than intellect. Characteristics of Age of Sensibility. A recoil from neoclassical correctness towards stress on spontaneity, emphasis on humanitarian values, idea of original genius, and the importance of imagination. Admiration of the sublime as that power in nature which is manifest in grand and wild natural scenes. In the writings of older native British writers instead of classical writers such as Virgil, Horace, Ovid, people started to follow the models of Spencer, Shakespeare and Milton. A taste for the exceptional rather than conformable, this sort of liking for the thrills of unusual and uncharted physical territories was similarly apparent, and what has been called as the poetry of night and tombs. These two important terms. Edmund Burke's idea of sublime and beautiful. The sublime and the beautiful popularized two aesthetic terms. Burke, formulation and awe-inspiring, and transports the viewer, recognizing the experience a power beyond themselves. The beautiful, however, is soft and small, something which pleases, but which the viewer feels he or she has control of, rather than being controlled by, as it is in the case of encounter with the sublime. Literature of sensibility, drama, novel and poetry. They are called sentimental comedy, sentimental novels and sentimental poems. Drama of sensibility. It was also called the sentimental comedy. Important writers of that period were Richard Steele through his works The Conscience Lovers, Hugh Kelly, False Delicacy, Richard Cumberland, The Brothers in the year 1769 and Western in 1771. Sentimental comedy was also called weeping comedy. In France, it was also called Comédie Larmoyenne, tearful comedy. Novel of sensibility. Samuel Richardson's Pamela or Virtue Rewarded, Clarissa or The History of a Young Lady, said Charles' grandson. Oliver Goldsmith, She Stoops to Conquer. Laura Stern's A Sentimental Journey. Henry Mackenzie's The Man of Feeling. Henry Brooks' Juliet Greenville or the History of Human Heart. Two famous European specimens, Rousseau, Julia the New Heloise, Letters of Two Lovers Who Live in a Small Town at the Foot of Alps. Goethe, The Sorrow of Young Werther. This is the illustration which clearly shows Goethe's The Sorrow of Young Werther. Goethe created a prototype of the romantic hero at odds with his world and doomed to destroy himself through his passionate, obsessive nature. Goethe's novel made leader of Strung and Drunk, which is a movement in Germany called Storm and Stress. Poetry of sensibility. They were also called as precursors of Romanticism. James Thomson, 1700 to 48, The Seasons. Thomas Gray, 1716 to 71, Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard, The Progress of Poesy, and The Bard. William Collins, Odes on several descriptive and allegorical subjects. Mark Akenside, The Pleasures of Imagination. Joseph Warton, The Enthusiast or the Lover of Nature. Thomas Warton Jr., The Pleasures of Melancholy. Oliver Goldsmith, The Deserted Village. William Cooper's The Task. James Beattie, The Minstrel or the Progress of Genius. George Crabbe, The Village, The Borough. Robert Burns, Poems chiefly in the Scottish dialect. Two important books, Relics of Ancient English Poetry, published in the year 1765, consisting of old heroic ballads, songs, and other pieces of early poets, together with four of later date. The third edition, volume the third. The another one is the works of Ossian, the son of Fingal, in 2 volumes from the Gaelic language by James Macpherson. Fingal and Ancient Epic Poems in 6 books and several other poems. It was published in London. Graveyard Poets, Thomas Parnell, Night Piece on Death. Edward Young, The Complaint on Night Thoughts of Life, Death and Immortality. Robert Blair's The Grave. James Hervey's Meditation Among the Tombs. Thomas Gray's Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard. Young also wrote a highly influential prose called Conjectures on Virginal Composition, translated in German in the year 1760. The work was enthusiastically received by writers of German Storm and Stress movement. Many of the poems of pre-Romantic poets were translated in Bengali in the 19th century. Thomas Parnell's The Hermit was translated as Sannyasi Rupakayan. James Wheat's poems has been converted into Kavita Kalab. William Cooper's selection of poems as Padya Cosmovali. Edward Young's Night Thoughts as Nisita Sindha, and Thomas Gray's Elegy as Sogagita.